the event that caused my mother to really hate my sister. Hello. So, I think I've mentioned this in some of my previous posts, but if I haven't, I have an older half-sister, Kelly. She's my dad's kid from a previous marriage. Their parents divorced because of the fact that her mom came out as gay, but the two are still good friends and are on great terms. Well, we're considering my old man is dead now, but he still lives on in our hearts. My mother hates Kelly, for various reasons. I mentioned a few in a comment on a previous post, but let me just provide a few here as well. Her mom and my dad had her out of wedlock. As stated above, her mom came out as gay, so anyone who's read about my mom will probably understand what I mean here. She's not religious. My mom has this weird belief that kids from a previous marriage should stay with the one who initiated with the divorce, so she was always upset that my dad maintained contact with her. I don't know if this was part of her religion or just a weird belief she has, leaning towards the latter. My sister is a bit tomboyish, or in my mother's words, not ladylike. But I love my sister. She's the loveliest woman on planet Earth, and we've always been really close. I'm her only sibling, so it makes sense. She always spent time with me when she could, picked me up from school, etc. Couldn't ask for a better older sibling. Karen has always hated the fact that I spent so much time with my sister, and tried to get my dad to limit contact with her, but my dad refused, of course, since it was still his daughter, which angered my mom, but my dad never cared. Anyway, this was just to preface how my mom feels about my sister. Now to the real meat of the post. Cast list. Me, Benjamin the weirdo. Kelly, my awesome older sister. Karen, my religious nutcase of a mom. Dad, my poor old man. Bill, brother-in-law, but at this point in time, her boyfriend. So, this took place around when I was 15, I would have to say, and Kelly 24. Kelly had invited me and my dad and some other of his family over to a special dinner. It was out of the blue at first, but it became clear what it was later. She was also kind enough to invite my mom despite her animosity towards my sister, which is honestly quite admirable in my opinion. My mom, for whatever reason, decided to come. My sister and her then boyfriend were hosting it, and let me tell you, her boyfriend is a real stand-up dude. He's just like my sister, cool, nice and quite funny as well. Always making jokes about how much of a cool brother-in-law I'll be when he and my sister get married. Well, he is, so I suppose joke foresaw the future. Anyway, at one point during the party, my sister called all of our attention to announce something. And it was something that made my heart soar. She announced that she and Bill were expecting. Everyone was fucking stunned, and everyone congratulated her. It was the first time my dad had cried in a while as well, and he was gushing about he was so proud of his baby girl. I was excited obviously, since I was gonna be an uncle. My mother, however, was quiet, but I could tell she looked pissed. Very pissed. Once all the other guests left, my dad, me and my mom stayed because my mom wanted to talk about something with Kelly and Bill. When they asked what it was, my mom asked Kelly if she was keeping the baby. My dad got confused and tried to interject, but Kelly just answered, "Yeah, she was." My mom got upset and asked why, and Kelly and Bill also looked confused and said because they wanted to. My dad got involved and asked her why she was asking all of this. My mom pointed out that Bill and Kelly weren't married just yet, so it doesn't sit right with her that they're already having a baby. Bill pointed out that they don't care about that, because they aren't religious. My mom got even more upset and told them to think about me. My dad told her to stop, but she insisted. She asked them if they really want to make me an uncle at 15. I tried to point out that I wouldn't care, but my mom just ignored me. Kelly said me being an uncle at 15 isn't that weird, and that it doesn't really matter since it's not like they're going to force me to be babysit or anything like that. My mom finally became irate and started screaming at Kelly, saying that she's disgusting and that someone as young as her doesn't need a baby anyway. My BIL and dad had enough and my BIL told her to get out. She refused, but my dad told her to stop this shit right now, and oh boy, he was pissed. Karen started crying and saying to my dad that she's his daughter and that he needs to control her. My dad just told her to be quiet and that what his daughter does with her life is none of her concern. Karen screeched about how no one ever listens to her and stormed off outside. My dad profusely apologized to Kelly and BIL. They were fine, considering they knew what my mom is like. My mom was crying the entire drive back, sulking about how no one values her opinion, and that everyone always has to make her feel small and worthless. Honestly, it was like listening to a broken record. When we arrived home, my mom stormed upstairs and locked herself in her room, like she always does. My dad was exhausted, the poor guy. I asked him if he still felt hungry, and he said yes, so we ordered a pizza and watched some Netflix. Present day, my beautiful niece is now 4 years old, and she's simply the sweetest little girl I've ever met. Sweet like her mom, cool like her dad. Oh, and if Karen is somehow reading this, just like to say that I'm still in contact with Kelly and my niece and BIL, and I'll be inviting them all to my 19th birthday this year. Peace.